Courtesy at 5 if they like, Michael, at 645. Make it 50 now at 645. At 645,000, fairly bid offered now at 645 the bid. 650. At 650 now for real this time, he says. At 650,000. Could have saved some time there, Michael. At 50 he got. At 55 now. At 655. At 655,000 and 5 still good with me if they've got it. At 655 for the bids there. Make it 60 in the rise. At 655. At $655,000 the bid. Once at 655 are we done? At 655,000. Twice at 655. Are we done? Finished. Third. Final call at $655,000 the bid. Are we done? Finished? Silent? Out? At 655,000, the bids there. Opportunity with your buy, Michael, at 655,000. At 655,000 now, it's got to be 60 in the rise. At 655, the bid. At 655,000, fairly been offered bids here, my right. Opportunity with every other buyer here today. Was that a bid, sir? Oh, I almost took your money at 655. At 655,000, bid still with you, sir, at 55. At 655,000, once at 655. At 655,000, twice at 655. At 60 now. Hard laboured bid at 660,065. At 665. At 665,000, bids back here now. Might take a bigger bid to beat the competition. At 665 now. At 665,000. At 665,000, bid there. 70 will get them on top. 75's better. At 665. At $665,000 now for the first call at 665. Done. At 665,000, twice at 665. Done and finished. Third, final call. $665,000 a bid. What do you say? 665,000. Need to know. 70 the call at 665. At 665 now, fairly been offered bid here, my right. Opportunity, as I said, with every other buyer at 665. At 665,000 and 70 now at 670. At 670 the bid. At 75, sir, if you like. At 70 the bid's against you. At 670 I've got. At 670,000, thank you for your bidding here today. At 670 the bid now. At 670,000, fairly been offered at 670. At 670 the bid for the first call at 670. Are we done? At 670,000, twice at 670. Done. Finished. Third, final call at $670,000 the bid. All done. 71. At 71, I'll take the one at 671. At 671,000, and we'll keep the wheels turning at 71. At 671,000, fairly been offered now at 71 and the bids there. At 671, at 671,000, same courtesy at 1 if they like, Michael at 671. At 671,000, fairly been offered now at 671 the bid. At 671,000, first call at 671. At 671,000, twice at 671. At 72 now. At 672 and 3 if you like. At 672,000. At 672,000. At 75 and a better bid. At 675,000, how about 80 in the rise? At 675,000, the bid's behind. At 675 now. At 675 the bid. At 675,000, fairly bid and offered. 675 we have for the first call at 675. Done. Twice at 675,000. Done. Finished. Third, final call, 675,000. All done. All finished. Silent. Out. At 675,000, need instructions at 675 the bids here. At 675,000, if we don't get the property on the market, we'll only deal with the highest bidder. At 76. At 676,000, you've got them down to $1,000 bids and 77 now. At 677. At 677,000, the bids behind at 77 now. At 677,000, how about 80 now? At 677. At 677,000, fairly been offered at 677 the bid. Bids with you at 677. At 677,000, once at 677, all done. Twice at 677, finished. Third. 670 I have, sir. 77 I've got. 680 at 680. Welcome and best of luck here today. At 680,000. At 680,000 now, fairly been offered at 680 in the bids there. At 680,000. You work so hard, sir. You work so hard to put yourself in the box seat. Fresh bidding. We have to at least test their resolve. At 680,000, the bids there. Still an opportunity on the phone, Michael, at 680 now. At $680,000 a bid for the first call at 680. All done. At 680,000, twice at 680. Done. Finished. Third, final call, 680 the bid. Are we all done? All finished, silent, out at 680,000. I dare say still representative of great value at that at 680 now, and the bids here at 680,000. At 680,000, what do you say, Michael? They still with us at 80? At 680,000, we definitely done over here at 680. Thank you once more for your bidding here today at 680,000. First call, second call, third, final call at 680. Done, finished, silent, out. 81 now at 681. At 681,000. Took them a long time to bid, sir, ma'am. At 681,000, we have now 681 the bid. At 681,000, bids there with Michael on the phone at 681. At 681,000. At 681,000, bids in the centre, opportunity on either side. At $681,000 a bid. First call at 681. Only the one bid here today, sir. We're absolutely sure. Second call at 681. Third, final call, 681 the bid. All done, all finished, silent, out at 681,000 at 82 now. At 682. Is that 1,000 each? No, oh, bit cheeky to assume that. I thought we could get to 683. We might get there at 682,000, and welcome back at 682. At 682,000, the bid's here now at 682. At 682,000, I'll seek instructions from your buyer, Michael, now at 682,000, perhaps still considering the position here at 682. At 682,000 once at 682. At 682,000 for the second call, third final call at 682 the bid. Done, finished, silent, out. Can I confirm that bid at 682? Yes. Bear with me one moment. I'll seek some quick instructions to be back momentarily. Thank you. Well, boys, thank you so much for your patience. I'll just confirm one more time at $682,000 a bid. Glad to say at $682,000, there's no further bidding here today. You will be the lucky buyer. We're on the market. We're at 682 and a half. 83 now. 85.
5.5.
At 5.5 now. 685. At 685,500. I was expecting a bid. At 685,500. Bids here rather. Keys are here at 685,500. Fairly been offered. We're on the market. We're selling. Not going back inside until we're sold. If you've come to buy, bid me now or forever hold your peace at 685,500. Bids here. Keys are here. We're selling. First call at 685.5, done. Second call at 685,500, done. Finished. Third, final call, 685,500, or done or finished. Silent out at 685.5. We're definitely done. Thank you very much for your bidding here today. At 685,500, bids here, keys are here. Once, twice, third, final call. We're selling, selling, selling. Sold! Congratulations and well bid. Please join me in congratulating our purchasers and our vendors here today. You've just witnessed another successful Harcourts Rata & Co auction. Have a great weekend. We'll see you again soon.